Yo, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another video. And today, I want to just take some fucking time to speak about the gaming world at the moment and some awesome things we're getting added into the gaming world right now. Now, at the start of this year, I was kind of questioning how gaming was going. I didn't feel like there was enough big titles coming out. I felt that Battlefield was the best shooter of last year, and I absolutely hate Battlefield 6. It's not the type of shooter that I want anyway. I wanted a very, realistic yet arcadey type shooter where it felt like, your old school Call of Duty, like Black Ops 2 to Black Ops 3, but what we've been given is an ultimate destructive mayhem with a very, very low time to kill and a battle royale mode that is just absolutely insanely hard to play unless you have aim assist on your controller or you are an absolute Battlefield nerd. Now, not only that, but we have seen a lot of different titles like Metaphor come out in the last few years, alongside games like Shovel Knight and Hollow Knight Part Two, and a lot of different titles that have got critically acclaimed on top of them, like Metal Gear Solid Delta, which is a remaster, but it is a very, very faithful remaster. It looks absolutely stunning, alongside Silent Hill 2 and Silent Hill F. However, I've been speaking recently about the Capcom re-releases like Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4, and they've done absolutely fantastic to make these re-releases of these games, and I think it's a great thing that we've gotten these, and as well as we're getting a new Resident Evil game in Requiem this month. I believe it's the end of this month or possibly March. I'm a little bit confused on that, but I'm sure you guys will let me know down in the comments anyway. um I'm looking forward to these games coming out. And I'm looking forward to playing these Resident Evils since I added them to my library very recently. I have been playing through Resident Evil 2, but I've taken quite a bit of a break from gaming, single player gaming, at the moment, because I feel like I'm using a lot of my free time on gaming, and I want to catch up with some TV shows and also do extra things outside, like continue focusing on my work and also focus on making my living space a lot more livable and a lot more enjoyable to be in, rather than being in a box with a computer and only that to, kind of entertain myself with. I want to pick up different hobbies like reading, going out playing football, and being able to, get into a little bit of DIY as well myself, and maybe take on a couple of little odd jobs for my family and make myself a little bit more useful than just gaming. However, the big thing that I noticed today checking the market is we got a new Rayman game that is absolutely hated because it doesn't have the original soundtrack. We've also got Solid Snake entering Rainbow Six Siege, which is huge. Um, we've also got another massive addition, which is Dino Crisis 1 and 2 being fucking, secretly dropped or shadow dropped onto everybody on Steam. And it's absolutely fantastic that we've gotten these games on Steam, and hopefully that is a big sign for a re-release of the game, and pretty much Capcom telling us all that they are pretty much going to be reintroducing Dino Crisis to all of us here who have been screaming for a new Dino Crisis game. It's one of my favorite Capcom games when I was growing up. Absolutely adored Dino Crisis, so I really do hope that we do see either a really faithful remaster of the game or a completely new reboot to the franchise, and that they try to make it somewhat, playable to the extent that it is now. Because I feel for anyway for Dino Crisis is it has that Resident Evil formula, and I can see exactly why Capcom let it go. Okay, and the reason I feel that Capcom let Dino Crisis go is because it shared too much in common with Resident Evil. Just like how we had Devil May Cry. You can clearly see that in Devil May Cry, it shares a lot of similarities from Resident Evil 2, the mansion in Resident Evil 2, and a lot of the camera angles in Resident Evil 2 as well. And shows us that clearly the game is a completely new IP, but with the ideas of Resident Evil behind it in Devil May Cry. Whereas Dino Crisis was just a carbon copy of Resident Evil, which just included dinosaurs in it, and it just didn't have that much difference compared to Resident Evil. It wasn't as appealing as Resident Evil, but over the last 10, 15 years, there's been so many of us asking for a new Dino Crisis game, or even just it to be re-released on modern platforms so we can play them and get that nostalgic feel for Dino Crisis again. And now that we do actually have that, it's a massive thumbs up from me, especially from Capcom, because they have been going through this recent revival of the franchise at the moment, and making all these games a lot more playable and a lot more unique in their new form factors, like Resident Evil 2, 3, and 4. Now, with Dino Crisis, I really do hope that they change the perspective of the game and they make it feel like its own title rather than, a Resident Evil wannabe. And I do believe that Capcom have got the power and the strategy to complete this, because we've seen what they've done with Resident Evil 7. We've seen what they've done with Resident Evil Village. We've seen what they're doing with Resident Evil Requiem. We've seen all the reboots in the franchise for 2, 3, and 4. We're all also seeing that they're about to do another remake in Code Veronica. We're also getting update that they're also doing Resident Evil 5, and there's so much things gonna be coming to the gaming world for every single one of us that we've got no other reason but to be excited. And I think Capcom has got the world on the edge of their seat, especially the gaming world, to see what they have planned in the future. Now, let's move on from Capcom and let's speak about Konami. Konami have been really striving with the Silent Hill IP, and we've seen the remaster of Silent Hill 2 that I mentioned earlier. We've seen Silent Hill F, which, my opinion, is Silent Hill F isn't that great of a franchise or entry within the Silent Hill franchise. I just don't feel like it's horror enough. It's taken a lot more into the action part of the game. It's taken away a lot of the scares. It is within Tokyo. It has tried to, embrace that difficulty factor by making you have to craft either weapons or find different weapons and use them to your advantage. I didn't like the fact that you've got two different types of weaponry to play the game in two different realms when she fell asleep and followed the fox guy. And she was also just running about fighting regular demons with a steel pipe that had to be, swapped out in your inventory. I just didn't like that compared to Silent Hill 2, where you ran about with your steel pipe, with your weapons. Felt a lot like Resident Evil, but it just wasn't Resident Evil. It felt so fucking good, Silent Hill 2. It even felt like it was the people from Resident Evil that made that, the Blooper Team people. And obviously it wasn't, but we are clearly seeing that Blooper Team have gotten an absolute squad of people that recreated that game and made it feel completely new, and also let us feel that nostalgic feeling of Silent Hill 2. Now, obviously the new movie is a complete flop, and a lot of people aren't really happy with the movie, but we are getting a Silent Hill remaster as well. Another one that I would like to see is Silent Hill 3 getting remastered. So it's great to see that two games that are very similar to each other, with Silent Hill and Resident Evil, are competing to try and re-release these games, and are doing it at a very, very fast rate. And I'm extremely happy to see what happens. Capcom obviously is delivering a lot more in a larger form factor, in allowing us to go through all these games and feel that nostalgia and play it from a different perspective. Whereas Silent Hill Konami are taking their time with these remasters and, really trying to get it pitch perfect for every single one of us to enjoy. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I will be back with more updates on the gaming world, hopefully very soon. I will speak about Rayman in a different video. I need to get a little bit more information on that, but we will see how that goes. But until next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye.